Hola, hola, bienvenidos. Welcome to Golazo Today. I am Francisco X Rivera, your host for today's special international break edition of the show. And we've got plenty of exciting topics to cover today. Coming up, we'll break down some of the most intense World Cup qualifiers and Nations League showdowns. But we have to start with what everything's talking about, the fierce clash between the United States and Mexico. And also in today's show, we'll dive into the upcoming MLS Decision Day, playoff spots, and home field advantages, as they're still up for grabs in both conferences, so you know it's going to be dramatic. And finally, we'll take a quick look at Liga MX as it inches closer to the playoffs and wrap up with a rapid-fire picks. So much to unpack, so let's get right to it. First, let's talk about one of the biggest rivalries in world soccer, USA versus Mexico. This rivalry goes back nearly 90 years, and every time these two teams meet, the stakes are sky high. The U.S. men's national team at El Tri faced up once again in front of a raucous crowd in Guadalajara, and the result? Well, it was a night to remember for Mexican fans. Marcelino Ortiz, mi compa, joins us now to break it all down. Marcelino, how are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Muy feliz de estar aquí. Thank you for having me again. I love it here in Golazo today. Absolutely, Francisco. This wasn't just any match. It was a statement. Mexico ended a 7-game winless streak against the U.S. with a 2-0 victory. And let me tell you, Raúl Jiménez in great form. But it wasn't just Jiménez. Cesar Huerta, el Chino de Pumas, also, sealed the way with a second-half goal. Overall, Mexico just looked sharper, more organized. This wasn't the team that we saw struggle earlier with Valencia. I feel like El Vasco really put that speech to work, and you saw a different team.
Talking about speeches, Andrés Guardado received a farewell, a tribute to one of the top players in Mexico's history. There are two things that I would like to point out, Marcelino. First of all, it's funny because this is a friendly, right?
Yep.
We're not supposed to be celebrating friendly victories, but to me, this is the most important victory for the Mexico national team since they beat Germany in the 2018 World Cup. Then again, ironic because we're celebrating a friendly.
Like you said, I think that this changes the course. I think that this is the moment that Mexico kind of like turns a corner and shows that they still, el gigante no ha muerto.
The Mexican team is hot all of a sudden, and the U.S. is cold.
They looked really, really well earlier in the week when they played against Panama on that 2-0, the first game of Pochettino. But now I think Pochettino is starting to see what this job is all about. I failed on my prediction last week when I said that the U.S. was going to win this game, but I didn't know that Pulisic and McKennie weren't going to be part of the team. Do you feel that there will be a different result if they have Captain America on the lineup?
I think friendlies, can go either way. I think one of the things that they have to be the most concerned about is how the team functions, how the team plays. And I'm very, very interested to see how this is going to play out. I think Pochettino, I don't know if I should call it culture shock, but he's going to be entrenched within a very different environment than what he's used to, high pressure, high performance stakes, when he has coached in Europe and also in Argentina.
I think what he has going on for him is that now he has a class of players that is training at that level, that has more of that culture in their already, in their everyday practice. But I think that it's important also for the U.S. that they gave exposure to these players that might not be on the first team on a high-stakes game like the game against Mexico. We'll continue to see what these two teams do on the road to the World Cup. But also we have more exciting games this week. What about Lionel Messi? This guy cannot be stopped. The 6-0 trashing of Bolivia. What is your take?
Well, the thing about Lionel Messi is that he's having fun. I think that's the most important thing. He looks like a kid there again.
He said so. The words. I feel like a kid playing.
You have to feel motivated. When you're a player like Lionel Messi, you have to feel motivated. I think that's one of the things that has made a difference when you compare Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. I think he came to Miami, he revived again. The Paris Saint-Germain era was sort of probably not what he expected, right? I think he came from winning everything with Barcelona to, having a roller coaster ride with Paris Saint-Germain and being unable to win La Orejona. But he's having fun. And I have to go back once again, talking about my own memories. Copa America Centenario, got to broadcast that game in the final between Argentina and Chile. Messi had been so disappointed after losing the Copa America final 2 years in a row that he actually retired in the mix zone right after the game. And everyone was thinking, well, is this it for Lionel Messi? Is he going to come back? And then a couple of his teammates also retire from the team. But then again, a few days later, he said, no, I am coming back. He was available for the FIFA International date in September of 2016. I am glad that happened because I mean, it's like a Back to the Future moment, right? I mean, then if he retires from the national team, he doesn't win the World Cup recently, he doesn't give us all these great performances, Inter Miami, etc. So I'm glad things are working out. I'm a little disappointed for Bolivia. I mean, with the altitude and everything, they were looking
You
so
would think
good.
that it will be a more level game. It wasn't the case. I want to throw some numbers out there. Messi is out of control, 122 goals. The only player with more international goals than him is, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo. He also broke the record for the most hat-tricks with a national team. And just for you guys to have some context, this week it marks 20 years from Messi's debut with Barcelona. So 20 years into his career, we see this level of performance. I don't think he's going to stop down. I think that we're going to see Messi in the next World Cup, and we might see him repeat.
Isn't that crazy, man? Because we go back to those Frank Rijkaard days. Yes. And I think, top of my head, Ronaldinho, Deco, Samuel Eto'o, Presas, even young Giovanni Dos Santos there.
Yes.
And, Lionel Messi is the only one, really. A lot of them retired with great fanfare, but Lionel Messi just keeps on going, man. It seems that he's eternal. And it is great that he's here. I mean, for us involved with Major League Soccer, obviously more resources, a lot more jobs for a lot of people as well. So I am glad he is a part of it, and I hope this ride lasts long enough for us to see it.
I'm happy that we're getting to see one of the best that ever played the game continue to play at this level. But there's so many more games. Now let's talk a little bit about UEFA Nations League. Some very, very exciting results. Let's start with the biggest surprise, a bittersweet game that happened in Wembley, England versus Greece.
Wow, man. I mean, for you to think as a team, as an opposing team, that you're going to go into the Pasto Sagrado de Wembley, right? The sacred grass, and you're going to be able to, beat England. I mean, for us in North America, it's sort of like going to Estadio Azteca, what Estadio Azteca was in the past, right? 120,000 fans in front of you, the heat at noon. Thinking about going there and being in Mexico, almost impossible, right? So for those of you who are from here, who share our same roots, that's basically the same context as what it means to go to Wembley and beating England, La Cuna del Fútbol. And then all of a sudden in Greece, they're going through, off-the-field problems. And I mean, I shouldn't say off-the-field problems. It's a tragedy. I mean, losing a teammate, losing a well-beloved player, man. I just felt so bad, but emotional nonetheless, getting that victory there in Wembley.
That's right, Francisco. The Greek team was playing with heavy hearts, dedicating this performance to their teammate George Baldock, who tragically passed away right before the game. Indeed, something really, really sad.
Yeah, once again, it seems that, obviously he only played 12 games with the Greek national team, but teammates expressed how important he was. He was a big locker room presence, obviously. And nonetheless, I mean, if you played there or not, I mean, losing a guy that losing a teammate is emotional, and it can go both ways. I mean, you can be completely destroyed mentally. You can go onto the field and getting trashed, or that can motivate you to go above and beyond and beat a team like England. Then again, England is not going through, their best time right now.
Nope.
They're in the middle of a process with Lee Carsley. Now, Thomas Tuchel is going to take over. We'll talk about that later in the show. So then again, it's probably not the England that you expect to see, but at the same time, great for Greece. Felicidades to Grecia. Congratulations to them, and hope this gets past them quickly. I mean, it's a tragedy. You never get past that. I mean, don't get me wrong, but soccer moves on, life moves on, and I hope they keep on honoring his presence with wins, and I hope they do well in their national stage.
And these are the things that might bring a group together, right? When they have an emotional moment like this, having a historic victory at a historic field, at a moment where, like you said, the team could just maybe not have what it takes to rise to the occasion. I was very moved to see how this whole squad pulled together and made something heroic. We send our condolences to the family. But we have so much more in the show, and we have to move on.
100%. So coming up next, we're switching gears to domestic action. MLS Decision Day is right around the corner, and the race for playoff spots is tighter than ever. Marcelino and I will break down the standings and the key matchups that could shape up the playoff picture. Stay tuned to Golazo today. We'll be right back after this.
It's a new era in CFB to start off this year, put on full display.
My take on this game is simple. I know some people will be upset about it. good riddance to the Pac-12.
Can you do it in terms of the week to week to week?
I don't see a pathway for this team to miss the college football playoffs.
We want to make sure you have those best bets in the entirety of our betting cards.
That was
Lincoln!
but he had that program was already going there.
Only on SportsGrid.
Guardians, despite being at home in the land, were a home underdog against Tarek Skubal. Enter Lane Thomas, maybe one of the under-the-radar trade deadline acquisitions being dealt from the Nationals. He was huge in the ALDS.
A heavy favorite for the New York Yankees in the series. You're going to look to their best two ball players to be those MVPs. That's Juan Soto and it's Aaron Judge.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
Right here with you on Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Odds in motion, trying to see what lines have moved throughout the week.
Never felt more comfortable in this set than I do for this year. I am ready. I'm just getting angry. The hot takes are going to be here all long, people.
What in the world is going on in Miami, Dom?
It's not particularly anything to shy away from just because many people are on top of it.
Hot take, hot take.
I think this line is asking you once again to take New Orleans.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back. Estamos de regreso. This is Golazo Today. I am Francisco X Rivera, and you are joining us on one of the most important days of the MLS season, Decision Day. Every match counts as teams vie for playoff spots, home field advantage, and even some league history. From the tight Eastern Conference playoff race to a possible record-breaking run by Lionel Messi and Inter Miami, the stakes could not be higher. And speaking of big stakes and big battles, man, the Western Conference, LA Galaxy, LAFC Marcelino, this is going to be great. I'm excited. I'm actually traveling to Utah in a little bit. I'm calling Real Salt Lake against Vancouver. Awesome. The Whitecaps actually have a chance of clearing that wildcard spot and not having to face Portland in a one-game playoff game. They would have to face LAFC or Galaxy directly, so I think they would not be able to escape that. No. And I think the coaching staff and players are conscious of that.
They get one more game.
That's right, exactly. And Portland's looking good, Evander, and everything. But how about starting with the Eastern Conference now?
The Eastern Conference is shaping up. It's the only conference that still has some playoff spots for up to decision. We have DC United with CF Montreal. They both sit in 8th and 9th place with 40 points each. Philadelphia and Atlanta are just behind with 37, pounding. So it's really anyone's game. These series of games are going to be really, really important to see which are the two teams that make it to the playoffs.
I mean, you mentioned DC United and Montreal. These are two teams that I'm very surprised to see in this position, just because DC United, I got to cover some of their games last year with Wayne Rooney. Mm-hmm. He ended up leaving the team mid-season. Now they have Christian Benteke, who's obviously the leading scorer for the Golden Boot. So I think he's going to get it. So that's going to be a big game for him. And Montreal was a mess last year. After Wilfred Nancy moved on and went to Columbus, they were just in complete disarray. I'm glad to see both of them fighting for a playoff spot. And that tells you how tight the race every year is for a playoff spot in MLS. Western Conference, LAFC and Galaxy, the black and gold still have a shot, although it seems that it's Galaxy's leadership spot to lose at this point.
Correct. I think there's a lot of combinations that need to happen. LAFC will just reach Galaxy on points, but then the tiebreakers will come. I think either way, LAFC has great momentum, and Galaxy has been spotty. They haven't drawn a game since May. So it's been, all or nothing for Galaxy. Either they win or lose. Hopefully they drop some points. LAFC gets a miracle, and we get to have the Western Final Conference at the formerly bank.
Alrighty, so before leaving MLS, it's time to go back to the Eastern Conference, at least for a little bit, because we need to recognize what could happen if Inter Miami get a victory this weekend.
Historical what is about to happen in Miami. They already clinched the Supporters' Shield, but they're gunning for an even bigger prize, setting the MLS single season point record. Right now, they're sitting at 71 points, just 2 behind New England Revolution's 2021 record of 73. If they break it, you see Messi after 20-plus years of career is still bashing records and carrying the MLS also around with him.
It is incredible that we get to see so many of these great teams. I was part of the LAFC broadcast team in 2019 when they broke Atlanta's record. Yep. They got to 72, and all of a sudden you're thinking, man, Carlos Vela and these guys are looking so well. They fell short, unfortunately. They lost in the semifinals to Seattle, but you thought, I mean, these 72 points are not going to be surpassed in a while. And all of a sudden, 3 years later, you get New England Revolution, and they leaped right over LAFC. And now you can get Miami doing that. It's just incredible, man. And I think it adds to the emotion that every year they have a new juggernaut, a new Capitan, a new head honcho in this competition. I would like for Miami to do it. I'm going for it. Why not?
But don't you feel like it was a little bit like obligated for them when you bring such a stacked team? Messi, Luis Suarez, Busquets, Jordi. I mean, you have to break records with that type of
the expectations there, but playing devil's advocate, Messi was not around for a lot of those games.
Correct.
So, the rest of the team, I think Suarez is definitely a candidate for MVP. I mean, what he did in the absence of Lionel Messi is impressive. So then again, great job, David Beckham, the front office of Inter Miami, putting this team together, because we know that with salary cap regulations, it is not easy to put a team together like that in MLS. Congrats to them. I'm going for it. I hope they make it. And remember, they got the supporter shields are basically the super líderes, the top spot in MLS. So basically, if they win out, they're going to be playing the final in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. All right, so before we wrap things up and move to Liga MX in the next segment, I want to talk real quickly about the MVP race. Just picking up, Suarez is a candidate. Messi, of course, is Christian Benteke. Do you have a favorite?
I think that Cucho is my favorite. I think that if you put in context that the team that Cucho plays in and the team that Messi plays in, I think Cucho has a lot more influence in the results for that team. Messi, like you said, wasn't there for many games. I think if you count that Miami has 5 of the top 22 under 22 players, there's so many factors for Miami to be doing well, whereas I don't want to say that Cucho carries the whole team, but I think his influence in the team and his influence during the games is a little bit bigger. So my pick is for Cucho to get it.
Yeah, I think the definition of MVP when you talk about American sports, you're talking about the player that if you take that player out of the team, your team is not going to be the same. And I think going back to my comment on Luis Suarez, I think even without Messi, Suarez has been able to keep this team together. Denis Bouanga, an obvious candidate. What a player.
What a player that has carried LAFC, changed the style of play. We used to, for us that we've been watching the team since the inception, we are used to this style of game where they retain the ball with a player like Carlos Vela distributing balls. Now we have another iteration of the team building up now that they're trying to find Giroud in the center with those crosses that we were not playing. We had a non-possession direct attack type of play. I think that Bouanga has been essential to all of the success of LAFC this season as well.
And I'll give you guys my dark horse pick.
Oh.
That will be Evander from the Portland Timbers. He scored the most beautiful goals from long distance this year. And obviously, he's the guy that moves the string. A little inconsistent at times, but I think he's had a wonderful season. Portland's obviously on the verge of the playoffs. They will still have to clear the wildcard round. Already secured one.
But if they do, that's a dangerous team to play.
100%. I've talked to so many coaches throughout the year when I've covered Portland Timbers games, and they tell me they're attacking 6. The 6 guys from the middle up front, guys like Evander, Santi Moreno, Jonathan Rodriguez, Felipe Mora, guys with Liga MX experience. Those guys are definitely forces to be reckoned. And talking Liga MX, don't go anywhere, because coming up next, we'll take a quick look at the latest from Liga MX along with the rapid fire picks with Marcelino. You don't want to miss it. And hey, make sure to follow us on social media to stay up to date with all things Golazo today.
can't sometimes look at the point spreads and just, understand what they mean. Because going into the game, you're looking at it, it's like, okay, Denver's playing better football. They won a couple in a row. Now they're going back home.
The Broncos have to turn around and play on a short week. Sean Payton is returning to New Orleans. The Saints just gave up almost 600 yards of offense to the Buccaneers. So it's going to be an interesting kind of gut check.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
But if you're playing the odds and you're looking for something that is a more favorable opportunity, it seems like Bo Naylor doing nothing tonight and just watching paint dry is a good investment.
I'm assuming he's in the bottom 3 or 4 of their lineup, which also puts them at risk to be pinch hit, which is great if you have that under. Gets up once or twice, and all of a sudden later in the game, they pinch hit for him, and then you're just free and clear.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
That kid on the 2-point conversion play was wide open on the right side of the end zone, and the kid threw it about 15 rows over his head.
People crystallize Georgia and Alabama. They put them on the shelf above everyone else, and they're just not there this year. I thought the kid Beck was great on Saturday, but they barely beat Mississippi State, who is porous.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back to Golazo Today. It is time for a news roundup where we'll bring you the latest and most exciting headlines from the world of football. Marcelino, let's dive right in.
I'm very excited for this segment. Absolutely, Francisco. We got some intriguing stories to cover. So let's get started. First up, let's talk about a historic moment for Italian football. Daniel Maldini became the 3rd generation of his family to represent Italy on Monday, making his debut in a 4-1 victory over Israel in the UEFA Nations League. What a story.
Felicidades. Daniel came off the bench in the 74th minute. He follows the steps of his father Paolo, the great left back and center back, and obviously his grandfather Cesare. Both are legends of the game, and it's incredible to see this legacy continue, especially with Paolo watching in stands. The royalty. Felicidades.
Some of the best players ever to wear that azul jersey. Maldini is regarded as one of the greatest defenders in soccer history. 126 caps for Italy. Daniel's debut is not just a personal milestone, it's a continuation of a legacy for this family.
MLS reaching the top 10 when it comes to a study by Opta.
That's right, Francisco. MLS started to look even more impressive when the average power rating of a league top 10 teams are calculated. This year, MLS has climbed to 9th with a rating of 81.5, surpassing even the Eredivisie. It's an amazing feat.
Liga MX, match day 12 is just around the corner. Marcelino, we've got some interesting stories, some interesting matchups. Yes. Which ones should you highlight?
I am very excited for this weekend. It's going to be electric. The stakes are incredibly high because we're moving into the last third of the season. We're getting to that place where the playoffs are being really fought every weekend. And let's start with the clash between Puebla and Cruz Azul. Cruz Azul obviously is currently the leader, sitting at the top. And after the impressive victory 3-0 over Necaxa, they're bossing with confidence and they're attacking sharp. They'll want to keep the momentum going and they want to avoid Cruz Azul.
Yeah, Puebla will be hungry for points. They'll try to claw their way up to the standings. I mean, they've been a team that's inconsistent, and they recently actually had an off-the-field problem.
That's unfortunate. Now we have to move on to the next game. Club America, you are dressed for success. Facing off against Santos Laguna. Club America has had a rocky start this season, sitting on 10th place. Not where they would like to be, but I think the resilience in the last match will play a difference. Meanwhile, Santos Laguna is right in the playoff mix, so this is a critical match for both sides. As you can expect, it will be a great game.
Atlético San Luis and Pumas, an interesting match. It's been a roller coaster ride for Pumas.
Yes.
What do you think about UNAM?
I think this is a very important game. It's one of those 6-point games. They're directly in the fight for points. San Luis is just a little bit ahead of Pumas. But I think San Luis just pulled a fantastic win against Monterrey, so they'll be riding high on that, and they're looking to prove they belong to the playoff conversation. On the other side, Chino Huerta comes from scoring with the national team. I think that he's going to come very, very well connected, and that might give Pumas, I hope, the win.
And we can't forget Querétaro at the Corregidora hosting Toluca. Toluca, one of the strongest teams there, once again spending a lot of money, and they're candidates to get all the way to the top.
Yeah, recently tied with Pumas 2-2. And, Atlas also will be taking on Mazatlan. Atlas is hovering just above the playoff line, and they know every match counts. They recently won the Tapatio Clásico, beating Chivas, and they'll want to deliver a strong performance against Mazatlan, a side that is struggling and a developing team that has done a lot of good things, but also is not quite there in the competitive level.
Well, there's so much on the line this weekend. Every match is going to count. Lots of drama in Liga MX, but I am waiting for my own little drama. Rapid fire picks. Are we ready for that, or are we talking about?
Picks.
Is there anything else?
No, let's jump straight to it.
Go for it. I see you very confident, my friend.
I've been doing well. I had some big misses last week, but I feel like, my score is going up.
And I know this is not about knowledge. A lot of time, you have to have some heart into it,
right?
Into your rapid fire pick. So let's go right into it. So MLS, we have DC United taking on Charlotte FC.
This is a great game. I'm feeling confident. They've been solid at home, and this is a must-win for them, so I'm going with DC United.
How about Philadelphia Union and Cincinnati?
Oh, Philadelphia has a really good spot. They'll be motivated at home to grab those crucial points.
Miami and New England Revolution.
Miami is on the verge of doing history. I'm picking Miami with Messi leading the charge. They're poised to set new records. I think this is on missing money. You got it.
Columbus Crew against New York Red Bulls.
Also, a very important game. I'm back in Columbus. Their form has been solid all season long. I'm sure that they're going to want to close the season with a strong performance at home.
FC Dallas against Colorado.
Dallas is looking solid. They've been consistent at home and should get the job done.
Yeah, at least some consolation for FC Dallas. How about LA Galaxy facing Houston?
For this one, I'm picking with my heart. I'm going to pick Houston. Houston is going to give the upset. They have great players. I'm going to give the chance to LAFC to win the West.
Alrighty, LAFC set to face the San Jose Earthquakes.
This game is crucial for the placement and the home advantage on the final of the Western Conference. Going with LAFC, they've been strong, and this is a chance for them to solidify their position at the top if Dallas loses their game.
All right, my friend, this wraps up our rapid fire segment. As always, Marcelino Ortiz doing well.
A pleasure.
Not only following your brain, but following your heart.
Always.
I like that.
Last week I didn't, but, I pay the price.
Don't forget to follow us on social media for all the updates, highlights, and exclusive content. You can enjoy games this weekend, and we'll see you next time on Golazo Today. Take care.
All right, welcome to week 6 of Beat the Odds, and we are getting fancy today. We're like Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide. We're going global as well. In fact, Teddy might even rap for us later. Yeah, no, maybe? He's thinking about it. From London to Las Vegas, we've got everything covered in pro football. Beat the Odds start right now.
From our Las Vegas studios, this is Beat the Odds, sponsored by Superbook at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino, and powered by SportsGrid.
Did I convince anybody at all?
I don't know. If you lost the jacket, at least we could match. I think the jacket is just clashing, but that's okay. That's okay.
Well, we clash in general, so that kind of works.
That's true. It's a metaphor.
Welcome inside our Las Vegas studio, and we're off and running. I'm Dave Hall.
And I'm Mariah Janos. Keeping with that Pitbull theme, though, some teams are going timber, and some of you fans might need...
Fireball! Dun, 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 dun. So good going down, so harsh coming back up.
Absolutely. Our Mr. Worldwide, Fat Jack, he's in London this week for the game there. Jack, what do you have for us?
Hello, everybody from London, England, and it is fall time. And just like pumpkin spice latte, a tradition like no other, Beat the Odds goes to London. When pro football goes to London, we're here all weekend long, bringing you most up-to-date information on the big game coming up here. As pro football goes to London, Beat the Odds goes to London, England.
Also coming up on today's show, scoring was up last week, so is it time to start smashing the overs? Plus, we'll have our player prop showdown and best bets from Teddy and Jack.
And it's a mess in New York right now. Who's to blame? Robert Saleh, Aaron Rodgers, the owner? I'll chat with Brandon Marshall